What's up, guys? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, please smash that like button on the video and enjoy the show.
The better that you are at basically like they can't break me type stuff, and I actually enjoy the pain, they respect you.
Yes.
And I remember there was one kid who was a fucking animal. They would literally bring him outside and they'd have him do something called iron mics, which basically you put your hands behind your head and then you just do lunges, and they would just be like, walk to that like telephone pole out there and walk back, like iron mic it half a mile.
Whoa.
And like the dude would be like
hard.
falling over,
Yeah.
but he never complained. Never complained. I remember this kid's face, like, he's just seared in my brain. Cause I remember just being like, dude, that guy's tougher than me. I don't know if I could do that. But like that dude, they smoke him every day because he's always doing dumb shit. But I go to basic training. Basic training was cake. Normal Army basic training. They're like, do push-ups. I'm like, this is fun as shit. I remember going through basic training and literally the drill sergeants would like call me over. And there was another kid, I forget his name, but like the two of us would get called over and they'd be like, look at how good our guys are. And they'd just be having us bang out push-ups and shit. And they were like joking with us. And that's when I realized, I was like, wait a second. This is supposed to be some super complex, hard thing that like breaks people. I mean, there's like fucking dudes crying and shit. You're like, bitch. Right? Like we're fucking doing push-ups, right? What is going on here? So like, you're probably not going to make it, right? But it's a very testosterone-filled environment, all this stuff. But what you realize was like, first of all, I'm 17 years old. There's guys there that are in their early 20s, mid-20s, etc. So like, you have an advantage that you're just young and like fairly stupid.
Right.
2, you're physically fit because I'm going to play college football. And 3 is, it was the first time in my life I realized, wait a second, the better that you are at basically like they can't break me type stuff, and I actually enjoy the pain, they respect you.
Yes.
And so then it just became a game, right? They call it smoking you. So if you did something stupid, they basically take you outside. And I remember there's one kid, this kid is a fucking animal. They would literally bring him outside and they'd have him do something called iron mics, which basically you put your hands behind your head and then you just do lunges, and they would just be like, walk to that like telephone pole out there and walk back, like iron mic it, like half a mile.
Whoa.
Right? And like the
Alright,
dude would be
that's
like
hard.
falling over,
Yeah.
but he never complained. Never complained. And I remember this kid's face, like he's just seared in my brain. Cause I remember just being like, dude, that guy's tougher than me. I don't know if I could do that. Right. But like that dude, they smoke him every day because he's always doing dumb shit, but he don't complain. And so guess what? Eventually they're not going to like mess with him anymore. And by the time we were ready to leave, they loved this kid. And so it was very much just like high pain tolerance, right? And understanding this. But while I was there, I realized that there was basic training and then you go to your job training. And I started doing some math and I was like, oh shit, I'm not going to be back by August. The job training I'm going to is going to get me back in September. Okay, that's not going to work. But I signed a contract.
Excuse me, Mr. Army?
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Army, sir?
There's no like, just kidding.
I'm going to Lewisburg.
Yeah.
Bye.
So I met somebody in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, where we were doing the basic training, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going home by August." And I was like, well, "What's your job?" He said, "I'm a combat engineer." I said, "Damn, that sounds way cooler." And you're out by August? All right, I got to talk to somebody. And so I literally got transferred. I changed my job while in basic training. And again, it was this game of like, the rules apply until you change the rules. Right? And so if you're stuck in basic training in the Army, this thing that like you shouldn't be able to change any of the rules, I just made the argument. I said, listen, actually, you guys need more combat engineers than you need truck drivers. I looked at the numbers.
I see where a young Pomp was born. I can see it now. It makes sense.
And so they allowed me to change. I went to job training and I was out. I actually got out like the last week in July and I showed up to play football in August. And so all of that training, everything, by the time I roll up to college, they're all like, yo, what did you just do? Because I hadn't told the football coaches.
Oh, you didn't tell him you enlisted?
It's none of their business. Something I'm doing for myself. And so I show up, and when I was in high school, I think I weighed like 195 pounds. Was training every day, lifting, all this stuff.
Slot wide receiver?
I was a safety mainly, and I was going to college to play receiver.
Okay. Guys, if you're enjoying this clip, make sure you check out my main channel, Julian Dorey, as well. The link is in the description below. That's where I post the full podcast episodes, including the one that you're watching a clip of right now. So I hope to see you over there, and please smash that subscribe button when you head there.
And when I got there, I weighed 170 pounds, and I couldn't bench press 225 more than 3 times. And they were like, where did you go? Like, you just withered away, because I had been in basic training in the middle of the woods in the heat of the summer in Missouri.
Yeah.
And so that started the journey of like, I got to put on a lot of weight. I got to get strong again and I got to build it all back up. But it was worth it because it got me into the military and allowed me to play football at the same time.
Okay. So you play football, I guess like freshman year, maybe sophomore year. At some point, mid-career, you are called into war.
Yeah, people today I think are always surprised by my daily schedule. Like, how do you do so much stuff? I mean, I've been doing this shit literally for 2 decades,
Yeah.
right? So when I was in college, I would go to classes. My freshman year, my parents hate when I explain this to people. I got a 1.8 GPA.
Oh, that's good.
1.8 GPA.
That's like Drake Rogers numbers right there.
I was trying to recreate my success in high school, just, take some numbers off of the GPA.
Yeah.
So 1.8. And literally the first semester freshman year, I just didn't go to class. Like, I was just like, this is awesome. We just play football. Like, this is incredible. And when the grades came out, I remember the coaches called me in the office. They were like, like, dude, you basically get a 1.8, and that allows you to play next year. After this year, you have to be above a 2.0.
Yeah.
And me being like, oh, there's grades. Like, you guys are going to get the grades. Like, okay, all right, got it. And so I forget what class it was, but I remember one of the teachers, like, after this meeting with the football coach, came back and was like, oh, I made a mistake. And he changed everyone in the class's grades. And my GPA went from 1.8 to 2.1.
Love that guy. Let's go.
I rolled back into the football office like I was walking down the red carpet. I was like, hey, motherfuckers, I got a 2.1. And they were like, well, your trophy for getting a 2.1 is you now have to go to a remedial class 5 days a week for like 3 months.
Ooh.
And it was me and there was like 4 or 5 other freshmen. I remember sitting in that class and they checked every day to make sure we were there. And it was this guy who wore a 3-piece suit. He had these eyebrows that looked like he had flames coming out of the side of his head. And
what was his name?
I forget the guy's name, but his whole thing for these like 3 months or 6 weeks, whatever it was to teach us how to speed read. That was the point of this. And so I remember sitting there thinking like, yo, I really think the athletic department thinks that if we could speed read, we're going to be like get better grades. Like that's obviously why they sent us here. And so this whole thing was a complete waste of time. But after getting those first grades, I said, I'm never, ever going to be in this position again. And I never got below, I think like a 3.5 or 3.6 the rest of my college career. And so to this day, I'm pretty sure the football team is convinced that remedial class taught us all how to get better grades. It was just an effort thing, right? Like if you don't study, you don't get good grades. If you put the effort in, then you get good grades. And so while I'm doing school, I'm also playing football. So you can imagine early morning workouts, practice, games, all that stuff.
I was around all your younger brethren there. I saw that schedule.
And then once a month, I'm going to Army training. I'm going to our local National Guard unit for an entire weekend and doing stuff.
Wow.
And so there were times on game days where it overlapped with these weekends. I would go to class on Friday morning. I would go to practice on Friday afternoon. I would then go to the National Guard unit, check in. I would go back and sleep because we had to check in for football and be in our rooms by a certain time. Then I would wake up on Saturday morning. I would go Saturday morning for prep for the game, play at like 1 o'clock, leave after the game, go back to the National Guard unit, do that until they let us go for the day, then go out and party with my friends. Obviously, you got to get that in, right? Be up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, turn around and go back to the National Guard unit, do whatever they needed me to do. And then depending on how the schedule works, some days we had Sunday off. Sometimes we would do Sunday and have Monday off. I might have to go back to play football or go to like football practice and film and stuff. And so you go through all this and you're just like, you just got to get it done. There's no complaining. There's no telling people, I don't want to do it this weekend. You just got to get it done. And so from a very young age, it was just like, how do you have a high capacity for work and be able to do this? So when junior year rolls around, I get a phone call. We're 2 weeks into the football season. And it is the lieutenant who is at the National Guard unit. And he says, calling to inform you that you've been selected as one of the members from our unit who's going to get deployed to Iraq. And I said to him, yeah, there must be a mistake. I'm in college. I'm Gucci. Like I got 4 years. Read my contract. If you need, I can bring a copy over. Yeah. And he goes, no, that's only if you're an ROTC. Are you protected? Because ROTC is the officer training. Mm-hmm. I wasn't an ROTC because football practice and ROTC stuff would overlap a lot. And so it wasn't possible to do football, school, ROTC plus National Guard. So I wasn't doing ROTC stuff. And so I said, oh, so what happens if I don't come? And they're like, you go to jail. And I was like, I'll be there. So this is for about a week. I'd gone back and forth with them. And then finally it becomes obvious, like, I'm going to go.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.